Pixabay is a website that has video, music, special effects, and photos for any project that you may be working on. The music for this episode is from Pixabay. When you have that special project, give them a try. A Hispanic musician told his audience, "I will disappear on the count of three." He counted down, uno, dos, and then he disappeared without a trace. Welcome to Inspiration from the Conversation podcast. It's here where I hope that you'll find inspiration. Hi, I'm Jeff. I'm your host, and this is episode 12. I didn't see my way out of it while I was in it. I guess a few years ago, I guess this is back quite a few years ago. I want to believe it was 2002, maybe 2003. I found myself in a situation. Basically, what had happened was my late wife, Jo, somebody had went through a red light and they T-boned her. At this particular time, she was driving I think it was a Dodge Spirit, I believe. And but anyway, what happened was the sun was in the guy's eye, and he hadn't noticed that the light had changed. And as my late wife was going through the light, which was green on her end, this truck ran into her and T-boned her. Luckily, she was not hurt. She was sore, but she was not hurt. And I want to believe my youngest son, JT, was in the car, was sitting in the back. But anyway, what it ended up happening was the insurance agency totaled that car. Okay, so the following week, at this particular time, I was working for the state of North Carolina, and a captain had called me late that night, and there was a problem with power flickering on and off, but not enough where the generator would come on. So he called me out, and I was headed to the job, and I guess I was maybe one exit away from exiting, and I was in the left lane, and there was a car in front of me, and the roads were kind of icy, so I was taking it easy, and the car in front of me was taking it easy. But anyway, as we got up to this one exit, the car in front of me kind of slid over to the left on the median, and I did the same thing. So we got out, we looked at each other, and he was okay, I was okay, and I want to believe that there was two more passengers in his vehicle. But anyway, so the roads were slick, and so what I ended up doing was I ended up calling my job and letting them know that, hey, I cannot go anywhere right at the moment. I've slid over and the road is real slippery, and I'm gonna get there just as soon as I can. And the captain said that would be fine. I said I'm not far, and he actually has said that, well, I can, if you're close, like on the highway, I can, send somebody to come get you. So I said that'll be fine if you want to do that. And so we hung up with each other, and as I began to kind of figure some things out, I was sitting in the car with the engine running, of course, and hoping that this ice would kind of melt or do whatever it was going to do so I can kind of move on. But anyway, what happened was I noticed in my rearview mirror that there was two tractor trailers. They were Marita bread trucks. They were headed, I want to believe, to Raleigh at that particular time. And one of the truck drivers kind of slowed down because he noticed that we were, me and the other guy was sitting in the median. And what happened, the other guy just continued to come on, travel on. And as the lights got closer, I was debating whether I should stay in the vehicle, because I figured that by the time that truck got up here, if he didn't slow down, I felt like he was going to probably run into us. Well, the guy never slowed down, and I made the decision to exit my vehicle. I didn't have enough time to let the people in front of me know that there was a truck coming and that they might want to get out of the vehicle just in case. But what happened next was that tractor trailer slid over, hit my truck, and my truck hit the car in front of me, and the tractor trailer hit the car that was in front of me. By this time, I was on the other side of the road, which would be considered, I guess, the eastbound road, or the road heading eastbound. I guess that's what I should say. And I was headed west originally. But anyway, so when everything was said and done, I walked back over to my truck. Truck still running, because I never did cut it off. And come to find out that he did some serious damage to my car. To my truck, excuse me. It was a F-150. And it was kind of dark out, so I couldn't really tell what kind of damage had been done. But anyway, we ended up highway patrol. We called highway patrol. They came and basically wrote the guy a ticket, and then we called a wrecker to come get the truck, come get my truck. The car in front of me, amazingly, was able to leave the scene after everything. It was a little banged up, but they were able to leave the scene. Me, on the other hand, as it became light, my car was jacked up, and the guy that had come to tow my truck, he said, "Yeah, the insurance company is gonna total your truck." And I was like, "You got to be serious. You can't be serious." And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, your truck is in bad shape." And as I looked at everything, he was right. So they totaled my truck. So we lost both vehicles in our family in 2 weeks. And I was like, I don't know what we're going to do. We did get a little bit of money out of, it was very little out of my truck. And there was a little bit of money out of the Dodge Spirit, my wife's car. But we were at this particular time in my life, we were going through it. Financially, it was really tight financially, and so we had bills coming in. Of course, we were both working, and we were doing the best that we could at that particular time. And really, I was trying to figure out, well, we didn't have enough money to buy, a new car or even two cars at that particular time. And another thing was, at that particular time, our credit wasn't in the best shape. And so I was trying to, or should I say, we were trying to figure out where we were going to get money from so that we could buy, vehicles. My late wife, she needed a vehicle and I needed a vehicle. So, at this particular time, I was going to church anyway. And I was praying that, I was praying to God that something would come about. And I was going back and forth, trying to figure out, what, what to do. And so my late wife, she was out of work for a couple of days. And I think, I want to believe that I started riding with a coworker. His name was Curtis, and I didn't really want to do that, but he lived not far from where I stayed, but he said he didn't mind, and occasionally I would give him some gas money. But anyway, so I was trying to figure out, what to do, because we needed a good car and a hoopty, I guess, or a car. We needed two cars. That's basically what happened. And as I sat for the next couple of days, I would come home and like, man, I don't know, what we're gonna do. And as I said, I prayed about the situation, but I was still trying to figure out what we were gonna do. And as I sat one late, I was sitting up late one night, trying to figure out, as far as money. And it came to me that when I was in the military, we were stationed out in South Dakota at that particular time. My late wife and I, we had set a couple of dollars aside, and we actually were doing some investing. That's basically what it was. And I had actually forgot about that. But God, saw fit to let me see that, hey, you have X amount of dollars over here. And what I ended up doing at that particular time, I had got up and went back through some papers that I had set aside, for investing and stuff like that there. And sure enough, I come across the account, and what I did is that next day, I had called and verified everything, and then they got information from me, and they asked if I wanted, any tax money taken out. And at that particular time, I asked them not to take any tax out because I needed all that I could get to, to get a car, or try to get two cars anyway. And so the check came, and I started looking. Well, my coworker, his name is Jeff also, was telling me that he had a neighbor down the street from him that had a car. It was a Mercury something. Mercury, I can't think of the name, but it was a Mercury. Nice car. So what I ended up doing, we got together. He took me up there, and I saw the car, and I was like, okay, man. I said, yeah, I got, X amount of dollars. And he told me, he said, yeah, we can work with that. And I said, he had another car. It was that was a LeSabre. I want to say it was a 74 Buick LeSabre. And I said, well, how much do you want for this? And he said, well, it's such and such and such. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you X amount of dollars and I take both of them. And boy, he was happy and I was happy. So I ended up getting the cars. And of course, my late wife had the best one, and it was nice. It was kind of a big car, air conditioned, everything worked on it. And the LeSabre, which I wish I still had to this very day, but I don't. I took that, and it was kind of funny because again, I couldn't see my way out of it while I was in it because I didn't know what we were gonna do. And still at this particular time, my credit wasn't the best, but we were able to take that money and manipulate things and get two cars. And while I said the Buick LeSabre was by no means a clean, well, I shouldn't say it was an old car, but the car was pretty clean. And I actually ended up, putting another a radio in it, and I put some speakers in it, and it turned out very nice. The only problem was, the engine was kind of old. It really needed to be rebuilt, but I kept the maintenance up on it, changed the oil and everything like that. And it lasted until we were able to get another car. We got a newer car. I had not long after that, I guess maybe about a good maybe 5 or 6 months after that incident, I was able to get a promotion on the job. So I ended up leaving one area or one facility. I went to another facility, and it's kind of funny because one of the co-workers there, it was probably maybe another 6 months after that, we were talking, and he was a churchgoer as well, and I was telling him everything that had happened to me, up until I got to to that location. And he said, "Man," he said, "you need to go to church." And I told him that I do, but I didn't tell him that the reason why I was able to continue, living my life and doing the best to take care of my family, and even though like I said, times were financially they were tough, and my credit, our credit wasn't the best, but because I was in the church, it kept me grounded, and I was able to see I couldn't see it, but after I got on the other side of that issue, I could see that God was there all the time. And it is true that sometimes we go through tests in this life. And I mean, the thing about it is that you have to go through things sometimes. And sometimes it's tough. Sometimes it's dark and you don't know if you're going to come out. But I'm here to tell you, you just keep your head down and you keep moving. And eventually you will get out of that situation. But don't get too comfortable, because you're going to go into another situation. And while I was in that situation, I still was believing that God was going to bring me out. I didn't know how, but I always believed that God would bring me out of my situations. But going through situations, they make you strong. They're not there to break you down. They're there to make you strong. But you have to believe. You have to believe in a higher power. And as I said, in the beginning, that this podcast is not it's not a spiritual podcast, but I do want you to know, even though I don't talk about God, God God is in my life, and He will always be in my life because, you know, God loves me, and I love God. Some people call it Jehovah, Yahweh, and there's a supreme being. I mean, a lot of people don't believe in God, but I do. I believe in Him. He has consistently shown Himself to me over and over again. But it's just funny that going through that situation, and I was thinking about it a couple of weeks ago, and I figured that this would be a good topic for me that this week. But you never know what will happen, or when you're in a situation, how you're gonna see your way out of it. But again, you have to go through it. It'll make you a better person. And just remember that when you think you have it worse, somebody else has it more so than you. Well, I guess that's going to be the end of it. So I'm going to stop it right there, and I'll come back when I have more time. Talk to you soon.